Hi guys, welcome back for a new video on the new era of my YouTube channel, if I can say it like this. And in this new era, I'm going to talk about NHL news and about the hockey world and everything is what is going on in the NHL. And we're going to start today with the trade deadline moves and every trade that happened. And we're going to talk about the biggest of them and who won every single one of those. So we're going to start with the trade that sent Anthony Mantha to the Washington Capitals and saw the Detroit Red Wings receive Jacob Verana, Richard Panik, a first-round pick in 2021, plus a second-round pick in 2022. Now, I cannot see how we can say that the Washington Capitals won this trade, or we can say it's just if the Capitals win the Stanley Cup this year or next year. But in either way, I cannot see. I mean, Anthony Mantha, I know that maybe he's not a player that gets the recognition that he needs because he's playing in Detroit, but Jacob Verana is a very good player, and I think that he's maybe not the same kind of player, but for each of the responsibility that each other does, I think it's the same level. And they had, the Capitals had Richard Panik, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick. Even though those picks are maybe like the 30th and the 60th, these are still draft picks, very, very important draft picks. And so yeah, I cannot see how we can say that the Capitals won this trade. The next trade is a pretty, not a minor trade, but well, not really that much important, but it's the one that sent Aiden Fleury, the young defenseman, to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange of Yanni Akinpaa and a 6th-round pick in 2022. Now, I trade is a pretty, not a minor trade, but well, not really that much important, but it's the one that sent Aiden Fleury, the young defenseman, to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange of Yanni Akinpaa and a 6th-round pick in 2022. Now, I think it's trade that worked for both of the team because Aiden Fleury did not really blue, even though he's still very young. Did not very blue in Carolina, and he will maybe have a chance with Ducks. I think he's gonna have very more ice time back there with the Carolina Hurricanes having a pretty stacked defense. But even though Yanni Akinpaa is also a defenseman, he's gonna fit very well with the Carolina Hurricanes, adding more depth, and also I think a role that they didn't have. They had a lot of scoring defensemen. They had Dougie Hamilton, Brady Shea, Jacob Sladden, and a defenseman that Yanni Akinpaa didn't have it, and they got it with it. As for the Ducks, they're in a rebuild. They're pretty poor right now, and they're trying to have young players, and Aiden Fleury is one of them. And I hope it's gonna go well for him in Anaheim. The next trade we're going to talk about the Sam Bennett trade that sent him to the Florida Panthers along with a 6th-round pick in 2022, and the Flames got the prospect Emil Heineman and a 2nd-round pick in 2022. So again, that's another trade I think that worked for both ways, because we've got on the side the Florida Panthers that are clearly going for a cup this year, with another trade that we're not going to talk about really, but that sent Brendan Montour to them. Yeah, so they're really going for the cup, and Sam Bennett's going to help them, and maybe being a better player that he's been with the Flames, because my opinion on this is the Flames saw that Sam Bennett was not really going to achieve more with this team. I mean, you need to remember that he's the 4th overall pick, and he's not playing like a 4th overall pick. He hasn't really been up more than a third line player, 4th line player, and a 4th overall pick should not be playing in this kind of line. So I think it's still pretty good. They got a prospect, Emil Heineman is a 2nd-round pick, 43rd overall, sorry, and they got another 2nd-round pick, but for 2022. So they still got something out of the trade, and again, it worked for both ways, I think. Another trade that didn't surprise me when I saw it is the trade that sent Jeff Carter from the LA Kings to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a conditional 3rd-round pick and a conditional 4th-round pick. So, like I said, it didn't surprise me, but the Penguins love to do that. We've seen it with Matt Cullen, we've seen it with Patrick Marleau. When it comes to trade deadline, they like to have experience with their team. They have, I don't know if they're going for the bang. I mean, everything's going for the cup, but really going for the cup, I don't know. But they clearly want to experience adding Jeff Carter as a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the LA Kings. And again, a trade that worked for both ways. There's still another year left on this contract of Jeff Carter. The Kings tried to make more cap space, so they're creating $6 million around cap space, and they got two draft picks, so it's still pretty good for them. So the next trade I'm going to talk about is the trade that probably every single NHL fan, hockey fan was looking forward to. Is the trade that sent Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar to the Boston Bruins for a second round pick and mid-20s player Anders Bjork. So now the majority of the people will think that this trade is really bad, but we need to remember that Taylor Hall had a non-movement clause. So that means that he could just say no to every trade that was proposed to the Buffalo GM. So they probably took the move that was good for the best for both parties, so that Taylor Hall would want to go to the Bruins probably, and probably that a second round pick and Anders Bjork was the best that Boston was going to offer. So I still think that the GM of Buffalo did not do that bad with getting these two things, and I hope that Taylor Hall win a cup with Buffalo. Now the next move is going to be the one that sent goaltender David Rittich to the Maple Leafs for an exchange of a third round pick in 2022. I do not have a lot to say about this move. I mean, it's a great move, I think, by Kyle Dubas, as we had the news that Frederik Andersen was not going to be back this season, even for the series. So they were going to be left with only Jack Campbell, as they did not really had confidence in Michael Hutchinson, and so they thought about a goalkeeper. They had probably the option of Jonathan Bernier, and they had David Rittich, and they took Rittich, and I think that's a pretty good option. He did pretty good last year with the Flames, and he's going to be a great. I don't know if they're going to play in like a backup. If they're going to play 50-50 between Campbell and Rittich, but I mean, he could play first, he could play second goalie. He's a very good goalkeeper, I think. Another trade now involving the Toronto Maple Leafs is the one that saw them get Nick Foligno and Stefan Noesen for a first round pick that went for the Blue Jackets, and a fourth round pick as well that went to the Blue Jackets, but the fourth round pick that went to the San Jose Sharks for the part that saw the Leafs acquired Stefan Noesen. So to not make it very complicated, it's about salary things. So at the end, the Maple Leafs got Nick Foligno, and I think that's a really good thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as they already have a team for the cup. They have a good leadership. They have a total of 4 players that have been captain in their team, including John Tavares, Jason Spezza, Joe Thornton, and Nick Foligno. And he's going to be a really good player in the probably going to play in the third line or in the fourth line. And yeah, he's going to be a good thing for the Maple Leafs in the playoff. And even though they gave up a first round pick, and I mean, I think that they do not really care about draft picks right now. They just want to win the cup this year. They're doing everything for it, and I'm very sure that they have a good balance between young players and experienced players with like Austin Matthews, Dustin Marner, and on the other side I've been players like Nick Foligno and Joe Thornton. So yeah. Now the next trade is the first one that I think that is going to see the team that got the best player out of the trade lose this trade. Is the one that saw David Savard sent to the Tampa Bay Lightning for I think it was a first round pick and a third round pick in 2022. So we can see that they got the Tampa Bay Lightning gave up more than the Leafs did for Nick Foligno, and I'm not okay with this, because I think that David Savard is not that good defenseman. He's not worthy of a first round pick. That's something I'm sure. I do not have a lot of comment on this. I just do not think he's that good, and he's gonna help the Tampa Bay Lightning a lot. I mean, they've already got pretty good defensemen. They got Victor Hedman, Mikhail Sergachev. They've got as well Ryan McDonough, and you've got to remember that David Savard do not have a lot of experience in the series. Maybe only last year where they went pretty far in the playoff. But yeah, I do not think that it's that good of a trade, and he's not worthy of a first round pick. We're almost finished there. We got the second to last trade that we're going to talk about. It's a pretty small one. It was not really a firework trade. It's the one that saw the Colorado Avalanche acquire Devin Dubnik in exchange of a 5th round pick in 2021 in Greg Pateryn that was sent to the San Jose Sharks. And I do not understand why the Colorado Avalanche made this trade. They need a little bit of depth in defense because for their third duo, and I mean I don't understand. I mean they already have two goalkeepers, very good first one with Philip Grubauer, and I'm sure that Pero Frankos would have made the job, and they shouldn't have gave up. Greg Patterson would have been pretty good help in case of injury or in case of something like this. And yeah, I do not understand why they got another goalkeeper which is still 4 million on the cap salary, even though it's only 1 year left. Still, I think a useless trade. And finally, the last one, that's Cal Palmieri and Travis Zajac go from the New Jersey Devil to the New York Islanders in exchange of AJ Greer, Mason Jobs, a first-round pick in 2021, and a fourth-round pick in 2022. And I think that everyone saw that the GM of the New Jersey Devil was very happy for them if they could win the cup. And he said that he hoped that the first-round pick that they got for this year was going to be the 32nd pick. That means that he hoped that Palmieri and Zajac would won the Stanley Cup. And I thought that it was very, very nice of the GM. And again, I think that's a pretty even trade. I mean, the Devils are still rebuilding. I don't know what it's like. They've been rebuilding forever since they won, since they last made the Stanley Cup final against the Kings in 2012. And yes, I mean, again, the trade that moved cap space, that they had gotten cap space, and they got their first round pick, which is pretty good. They got I'm not going to say a prospect because he's already I think 24, 25-year-old in AJ Greer, but these are still players. And in the side of the New York Islanders, I mean, it's a very good trade on their side. I mean, it's two players that had experience. Cal Palmieri played with the Ducks when they were pretty good and made the playoff. Travis Zajac win cup. Sorry, they did not win cup, but he was very, very good in times of Martin Brodeur, and he's there since he was there since a lot of years with the New Jersey Devils. So I think that these two players are really, really going to help the New York Islanders in their playoff run. But so that's it for the video. That's it for all the trade. I think we discussed about pretty much all the important one. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to make a comment and a like. I will put my Instagram, which is in development, in the description. And yeah, see you next week.